يعني شافوا مناظر بشعة لحد البنت هسه بتتصرخ بالليل بتتعيط بتقول لي يا أمي نحن الناس اللي بيجوا بقتلونا ولا بنت.
Sudan, located in northeastern Africa, has been embroiled in a civil war for 2 years. Around 30% of the population has been displaced, yet the conflict has received little international attention, overshadowed by the wars in Ukraine and Gaza. In the meantime, civilians are being left vulnerable to frequent attacks and human rights violations, while the healthcare system has collapsed and famine spreads. The World Health Organization reports that between April 2023 and October 2024, there have been at least 119 attacks on healthcare facilities in Sudan. The Integrated Food Security Phase classification indicates that 24.6 million people, or half of Sudan's population, are facing severe food insecurity, with 8.5 million of them experiencing emergency levels or near famine conditions. The ongoing civil war in Sudan originated from a power struggle between the government forces and the rapid support forces. Once allies, the two factions worked together in 2019 to overthrow a 30-year dictatorship. However, disputes over power sharing escalated, eventually leading to violent clashes on April 15, 2023. This shattered the hopes of the Sudanese people who had dreamed of a new era after the fall of the dictatorship. Since the outbreak of the civil war, the international community has called for a ceasefire and engaged in mediation efforts. But there have been no significant progress. Meanwhile, foreign powers have also had a significant influence on the Sudanese civil war. In particular, Russia has exerted strong influence on the conflict, supporting the Rapid Support Forces through the Wagner Group. Russia's involvement is complicating the dynamics of the Sudanese civil war and raising concerns within the international community.
Alors, la situation des populations à Goma est catastrophique. Nous faisons face à un afflux de blessés comme jamais auparavant. Dans la simple journée d'hier, nous avons reçu quelques 148 blessés, dont 136 civils.
In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, a civil war has been ongoing for decades, with murder, sexual violence, looting, and other atrocities. The situation worsened after the 1994 Rwandan genocide, when refugees and armed groups flooded into the country. On top of that, abundant natural resources such as gold and cobalt have fueled power struggles, serving as a financial lifeline for armed groups perpetuating the conflict. Currently, over 100 armed groups, including M23, the Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda, and the Cooperative for Development of the Congo, are active in the region. The situation continues to escalate as ethnic tensions rise, armed groups expand their influence, and clashes between government forces and rebels continue. Despite the presence of UN peacekeeping forces since 1999, they have failed to effectively prevent attacks on civilians, leading to growing distrust from local residents. In 2024, after 25 years of deployment, the peacekeepers began a phased withdrawal. In 2021, the eruption of Mount Nyiragongo caused widespread destruction, underscoring the intersection of natural disasters and conflict in the region. Due to a lack of international attention and a web of internal and external challenges, resolving the situation remains difficult, with the chaos primarily affecting civilians. Another forgotten war is the Yemen civil war. Since 2014, when Houthi rebels seized the capital, the conflict has created the world's worst humanitarian crisis. According to the United Nations Development Program, by 2021, around 370,000 people had died, with 60% of these deaths resulting from indirect causes such as malnutrition and disease. UNICEF reported that by 2022, more than 11,000 Yemeni children had died or been severely injured. However, the complex entanglement of external interest and internal factional struggles continues to complicate peace efforts.
We will do whatever it takes in order to protect the legitimate government of Yemen from falling and from facing any dangers from an outside militia.
کشوری تجاوز میکنن، دخالت در امور داخلی اونها میکنن. ما این تجاوز و دخالت در امور داخلی یمن رو محکوم میکنیم.
In particular, the Yemen civil war has become a proxy war between Saudi Arabia and Iran. Saudi Arabia supports the government forces, while Iran backs the Houthi rebels, engaging in a regional power struggle. Both countries are using the Yemen crisis to advance their own regional interests, which has prolonged the civil war. Moreover, the ongoing violence and instability have made humanitarian intervention by the international community difficult. Security is scarce, and access to affected areas is restricted due to destroyed infrastructure and ongoing military operations. The complex web of various interests has further complicated neutral humanitarian efforts. In long-standing conflicts like those in Yemen, Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the use of child soldiers is a major humanitarian issue. Children under the age of 18 are forcibly recruited into armed groups, depriving them of educational opportunities and pushing them into a cycle of poverty and violence. Additionally, families are being torn apart, creating a growing number of displaced households. According to the International Committee of the Red Cross, as of 2023, there have been approximately 69,000 cases of missing persons in Africa, but only about 8,300 individuals were reunited with their families. The success rate is just 12%. This means tens of thousands of people are left in a state of endless waiting, despair, and suffering. In conflict zones that have faded from the world's attention, people continue to lose their homes and remain trapped in unending tragedy. To ensure that their suffering is not forgotten, continued international support and global awareness are needed.